Hello, my name is Aubrey, and I'm part of the program on the environment and the urban design and planning program. This is my capstone titled Environmental Justice for Airport Communities, Regional Transportation Planning in a Post-Jet Age. So this environmental justice issue is really relevant because passenger and cargo aviation are projected to grow globally, increasing the demand for additional land that can support these facilities. But we shouldn't just accept airport expansion as an inevitable response to this demand. Airports impact the communities around them, most notably minority and low-income populations, which are disproportionately affected by air pollution produced by airports and cargo facilities. And that's because these populations often live closer to these facilities. I'm really interested in planning, and within the field of urban planning, there's a lot of discussion about how highways have impacted marginalized communities, but there's less mention given to airports. But the community impacts of airports are just as important, and the health impacts of airports can range from delays in childhood development and increased chronic illnesses to things like shorter lifespans. So this is clearly an environmental justice issue. And although research shows trees can help mitigate the negative health effects of these facilities by absorbing harmful particulate matter, publicly available documents published by the Port of Seattle indicate over 100 acres of owned forested land around SeaTac Airport for development, which can be seen in Figure 1 on the screen. This park, North SeaTac Park, is an extremely important recreation and green space for the community. So the objective of the study was to determine how this land can be protected from development. My main guiding question was what big picture planning approaches could ameliorate the environmental injustices experienced by airport communities. So to address this question, I used a variety of different approaches. I, first of all, was interning with the South Seattle Climate Action Network, where we worked with the defenders of North SeaTac Park to raise awareness about the threats to the park and take part in restoration events as seen in figures 2 and 3. I also analyzed land use around SeaTac Airport, looking at land ownership and tree canopy coverage in the area. I conducted interviews with elected officials and regional planners. And finally, I administered a literature review on current airport community conflicts to get a better understanding of how other communities were pushing back against expansion and how the planning world was addressing these complex issues. So the results of my research indicated that there are 4 key planning approaches for protecting communities from airport expansion and hopefully lessening the environmental injustices they face. These approaches included urban infill and land swaps. So these planning methods can conserve critical forested land by incentivizing development to happen on already developed areas. Also, rezoning of land. So the land in North SeaTac Park is currently zoned as aviation commercial, meaning at any time it can be developed for airport purposes. So zoning, it's really critical that it must be changed to park, and this is the most long-term solution to protect it. And probably most interesting to me was the theme of transportation alternatives, like high-speed rail. Numerous studies, high-speed rail aligns better with transportation justice goals because it has less emissions, it pollutes less, and it has a smaller footprint that impacts the communities around them less. So the implications of my study, the path forward must involve collaboration between public and private entities to identify successful opportunities for these planning approaches. This is a complex issue and it won't be solved overnight. It's difficult to balance the influence of a huge industry that's deeply integrated with our movement of goods, with the well-being of marginalized communities across the US who often don't much have power or representation within the planning process. Additionally, regional planning organizations like the Puget Sound Regional Council can play a more active role in shaping our regional transportation systems through creating policy that supports high-speed rail. We need to be challenging the status quo and planning for a better future within transportation planning. And finally, the environmental health impacts of aviation necessitate change within the field of transportation planning overall. Elected officials and planners must actively advocate for policies that protect the well-being of airport communities. I would like to thank my site supervisor, Noemi Maxwell and Ann Miller, my faculty advisor, David Blum, my internship partner, Charlie Sykes, and also my friends and family for all their support. And if you have a moment, please feel free to scan the QR code in the bottom corner and sign the Community Forest Consensus, which calls for an immediate moratorium on tree removal around SeaTac Airport. Thank you so much.